Hello everybody, welcome to yet another video here on the channel. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial on Minecraft and how to add custom shaders and resource packs, specifically to the Java edition of the game. Sorry, you console and Bedrock players. I'm going to be doing a survival playthrough of the game in the coming weeks, kind of like a beginner's tutorial, but I haven't played the game in a long time, and there's lots of the game that I haven't even done yet. I haven't even killed the Ender Dragon, so the beginner's guide, so to speak, will be covering the basics towards the beginning, and then the playthrough will kind of morph into a Let's Play with the ultimate goal of killing the Ender Dragon. I think I'm going to set for myself, at least initially, or we'll just keep playing until we get bored, which tends to be how I roll. So for those of you who are relatively new to the game, you might have seen videos on YouTube where people have completely modded out the game to make it look a lot better with high-resolution textures and custom shaders and shadows and updated visuals and all of that good stuff. And in this tutorial, I am going to walk you through how you can do that. Anytime I upgrade my computer, I always like to come in here and see how far I can really push things. It's generally a good test to see what you can do with your hardware. So before I move into this, just some notes on the specs of the machine that I am currently working with right now. This is a Ryzen 3700X, one of their newer CPUs, and I have an older motherboard, the B450, 16 gigs of RAM, and a R9 390 video card, which is, I believe, almost 5 years old at this point. So, well, I have a nice new processor. Everything else isn't exactly top of the line, so that should give you kind of an idea of a baseline of where you can go. And as you'll see from my demonstrations, I can push things pretty far, but as you do with this kind of thing, as you add increased high-resolution textures and really crank up the settings on the shaders, it's really going to drop your frame rate down. So that is always the sacrifice we are making here. But enough babbling about that. Let's get into it. And in order to start this off, we're going to jump over to our web browser. Okay, so the first site you're going to want to visit is Optifine, and this is Optifine.net. I'm going to paste all of these links in the video description after this, so no worries there. You should be able to find everything. But Optifine is a optimization mod for Minecraft that has been around for a long time. Anytime I have ever played the game, I have always used Optifine. It adds support for increasing the shaders and the texture customization options. And it just kind of optimizes the game and makes it run better. They always say in their docs that most people, just by installing Optifine and not changing anything, you get a boost in frames. So the game just tends to run better with Optifine installed. And you can see here on their main page, it kind of gives a little overview of all of the different things that Optifine does. And when you install Optifine and you go into your video settings in the game, you'll see it adds a bunch of different options in there. So in order to install Optifine, what you do is you go over to the downloads section here, and you can see they've organized all the downloads based on versions of Minecraft. Now, as of this recording, I think the latest up-to-date version of the game is 1.15.2. So as you can see, the latest version is not available here. And when you are downloading Optifine and installing it, you're really going to be playing the version of the game that they list here. So unfortunately, this modification tends to lag about a release behind. I think it's been about 6 months or so since version 15 came out. So I don't know exactly if they've ever been 2 versions behind before or not. But right now, the latest version is 14.4 here. So what you're going to have to do in order to install this is you're going to need to install the version of Minecraft that corresponds to this version of Optifine. And in order to do that, you're going to go into your launcher section, And if you see down here on the left, it lets you select different installations. And in order to install different installations, you go over to the installations link. And then right here, you can click new. So in this example, we need to install Minecraft 1.14.4 in order to use this Optifine mod. So what you would do here is you would just name your installation. And in this example, I just named it opt. And then here you select the version, and they have all these prior versions of the game. And in this scenario, we are looking for release 1.14.4. You can leave everything as the default for now and just click create. And when you do that, it'll show up in your list here. You can see this OPT. We have the latest release, 1.15, and we have the version that we just installed. Once you do that, you can then download Optifine. I always choose the latest version that they have here, the F5 one here at the top. And when you download this and install it, the download is going to be a jar file. And in short, what a jar file is it's a packaged code of Java code. When you double click on it, you will run it and it will install. But prior to installing this version of Optifine, it needs to have this version of Minecraft already installed. So that's why before you do this, you have to go into your Minecraft launcher, install that version, and then once you do that, Optifine should install. Once Optifine is installed, and you go back into your launcher, you will see down here in the left where you can select the version to play. This is the latest version, but Optifine now exists as an option to play the game. So once you do that and launch the game, nothing will look all that different here initially, but you'll see the version down here in the bottom, so you'll know you're running that 14.4. But then when you go into options in video settings, you'll see a bunch of other options in here. And you know, these settings are the tooltips on them are all very good. So for example, if you're going into like details, you hover over something, it gives you just a quick little blurb about all the different selections you can make and what this option does. So if you want to stop here and just use Optifine, you can do that. A lot of people do. I have done that for a long time, and just spend some time going through all these different options and setting everything up so that it is optimized for your build, for your machine. So that is Optifine. Once Optifine is installed, now the real fun can begin with adding custom resource packs and shaders. So what you can do is after this, you want to go back. You want to go back to your desktop here, and you want to, let's see, you want to go down to your search bar in Windows and type %, and then app data, one word, and then a %, at the end. And when you do that and open it up, you'll see it's just a shortcut to this user roaming folder, and you'll see a .minecraft folder in that location. Now, if you double click on that, I'm going to draw your attention to a couple important folders in here. The first one is shader packs, and the second one is resource packs. So when you download custom shaders and custom resource packs, you're going to go in here and actually put those downloaded files in these respective folders. So for example, if I look in my shader packs folder, these are all these different custom shader packs that I have downloaded. And as you can see, I download them as zip files, and you know, you're going to have to check with whoever makes the custom shader. Sometimes they might have a different way of installing it, but for the most part, you can just drop the zip file right here in the folder. You don't have to unzip it or do anything. And then once it has been dropped in here, you can go into the game and then see this custom shader as an option to select. And the exact same thing goes for the resource packs. So the resource packs, what they are custom tile sets for the game. So it completely changes how dirt, grass, and stone looks, and all that stuff. And for the most part, they install in exactly the same way. In the resource packs folder, you dump your resource pack in here, the zip file exactly. You can see in this example, I downloaded a custom pack called Feudalist, and in this instance, they wrote on the zip file, unzip me. and the resource pack would not work until I unzipped the file and then put the unzipped folder in this resource pack folder. But for the most part, these other packs that I've chosen have all just been adding the zip file. So when we go back into the game, I'll give a quick rundown of some of these packs. I guess give a mini review of what I think of these. You know, there are tons of resource packs and shaders and a lot of that stuff out there. So feel free to just browse around the internet, go on forums. I'm sure you'll find some good stuff. But I'm going to draw your attention to a couple different shader packs and resource packs here as examples. So let's talk about shaders first. The two different shader packs that I have played around with are Sildur's Vibrant Shaders and the SEUS, I guess SEUS, SEUS Renewed is the other shader pack that I have been using. So as an example, here's the website for Sildur's shaders. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to add all of these in the video description, so you don't need to worry about it right now. But you can see on their main page, they have some downloads here for different versions of the shader. There's a light, medium, high, extreme, you know, depending on your rig. One might be better for you than the other. I downloaded everything from medium and up, and you can just download each one of these. They will just be a zip file. And as I mentioned earlier, you just drop that in the shader packs folder. So you can see I've downloaded medium, high, extreme, and I've also downloaded this SEUS Renewed shader pack from their website. And then the same deal goes for resource packs. Another example that I will share with you here is the John Smith Legacy pack, and you can find that at johnsmithlegacy.co.uk. This is the shader pack that I've been playing with for the most part lately, and I really like it. I will show it to you in a little bit, but you can see right here, as you scroll down their site, you can see they have a version for the Bedrock version of the game, and then as you get down in here, there's other versions of the game for the latest update, 1.15.2. But in our instance, for example, we are playing on 1.14.4, so you will want to come down here and make sure you get the right resource pack for your version. And then once you've downloaded the files, again, just like the shaders, they get dropped right into that folder, .minecraft, and then into resource packs. You can see here's the John Smith Legacy resource pack. All right, back in the game now. If we go under options, under video settings, and now if we go into shaders, you can see all of these shaders that we added into that folder. You can see our SEUS Renewed, we have a SEUS Standard, and all these different Sildur's Vibrant shaders. And to actually turn them on, you just select one from the list. Let's actually jump into a game here so you can see a quick before and after. So let's go into my little creative playthrough. You can see here we are. It's nighttime. We have our Enderman over there. Here's a little village that I've been just sort of messing around with, hanging out, playing around. This looks like a good spot to test out how some of these shader packs work. It's nighttime, but let's go into options, resource packs. Actually, let's start with shaders. So let's see. Under video settings, you go to shaders. You'll see all of the shaders that we installed. Depending on your machine, how I would recommend doing this is just start low and then start to slowly move your way up to something that's a little bit more powerful, and then back it off. Once you get to a point where you're happy with the frame rate and how the game is running. So just putting this particular shader pack on medium, you'll already see right away what a difference it makes in the game. And I know it's nighttime right now; there's no sun out. But you can already see right away it adds a little bit of a blur to things. There's like some haze going on in the distance. It changes the sky a little bit. If you look at the moon, you can see there's like a bloom effect going on around it. And this is just at the medium setting of the shader. So I think just doing a minor tweak like this to the game can really make it look a lot better. And you can see as we start to crank up these shaders, what a difference it can make. And unfortunately, the frame rate will start to drop here as I go higher than, well, let's see. Shaders, let's kick it up to, we'll do high motion blur. And they're really incremental changes here. You can see as it starts to render the rest of the world. You can see the water. You can see the moon's reflection there, reflecting off the water. That looks pretty cool. Another thing that's kind of neat about these shaders is it creates an ambient light around your torch. So for example, as you can see, if I go down into this dark place, I'm just holding a torch in my hand and it's lighting the room up a little bit. If I switch away from the torch, then it's dark. So that is really cool. In the default version of the game, I don't believe the torches behave that way. So that's one of the benefits of using shaders. It just makes it a little bit more realistic. If you're holding a torch in your hand, it'll light things up a little bit. You can see there's some glow around the fire, around the flame there. So one of the benefits right away, or one of the benefits of using the shaders for sure, I think. So yeah, so this is high. Let's kick it up to extreme and see what that does. So this is it on high, and as you can see, as I keep going higher and higher, actually I think this was extreme, right? As I keep going higher and higher here, it adds a haze to the map. You can see there's like an atmosphere. The light is impacting that atmosphere. As the light gets lower in the horizon, you'll see those like rays coming off of the sun and the moon. Maybe we'll have to wait here until sunrise just so you can see what it looks like in the daytime. But it is pretty nice. I like it. But I think my frame rate is probably at about 30 frames a second at this point, down from the usual 60. So, it's entirely up to you how you like it. I'm probably not going to stream the survival playthrough with a crazy high shader pack like this, but I probably will use the medium or the high one. Anyway, this is the shaders. So you can see a massive change to the game before and after. So this is the high version. Let's go back to just turn it off, and you can see the before, or just internal. And that is the difference. Pretty crazy. So now let's take a look at resource packs, and I'm going to look at this with the shaders off so you can see exactly what the pack is doing here to the landscape. Maybe you just want to add a resource pack and you don't want to add any custom shaders. So what you can do here is just go to your, let's see, resource packs. And then these are all the different resource packs you saw in that folder. These are some of the ones that I've liked so far. As I mentioned, I've found myself sticking with the John Smith Legacy one, so I guess I'll show that one at the end. But to just give a good overview of these, something that I didn't mention before either is when you're looking at resource packs, you're going to notice a lot of them have this number at the end of them, this 128x or the 64 by 64. You might see a 32 by 32 or 32x. What this is it's just a resolution of the textures. The higher the number is, the higher the resolution and the more detailed those textures are going to be, and probably how much system resources you need to run them. Now, I haven't experienced sort of a one-to-one match in the into how these work. I have found that, for example, this Chroma Hills one that I have is 128, and I have a Feudalist 128 as well. I have found that the Chroma Hills one performs a lot better than the Feudalist version, especially when I combine it with a shader. If I add shaders to this Feudalist 128 one, it completely knocks the frame rate down to probably like 10 frames. But the Chroma Hills one, for example, I can get a solid 30, maybe even 50 to 60 frames with this texture pack and some light shaders on. So I don't really know exactly why it does that. Maybe some are just better optimized. But anyway, let's start with Feudalist. So this one is a medieval texture pack. It's kind of leans more towards the realism side of things. I'm going to show the 128 version because this is the higher resolution one. And this is the only one that I actually had to pay money for. I think it was like $2 or $5 or something like that. Everything else here has been 100% free. But I liked I initially liked the lower resolution of the Feudalist one, so I bought the higher res one, but I ultimately just haven't really found that it performs as well for me. And after a little while, I kind of just stopped liking it as much. So this is the Feudalist resource pack, and you can see immediately what it does. It changes every block in the game. It changes the sky, completely adds a different moon and sun. And but one of the things that I do like about it is the oak stairs block is an actual shingled roof, which is really cool. If we hover over the block, you can see the outline of the block. It's really just stairs here, and if I land on it, they behave just like stairs. I walk up and down them, but the texture on them is this shingled roof, and I think that looks really cool. I also like the wood and the stone. It just looks a little bit more feudal and realistic. The one thing that I don't like about it as much is there's a lot of crap on the ground. The grass is kind of out of control. There's just a ton of it for some reason. It seems like with this resource pack, there's just more of it. I don't know if that's true, but there's just a lot of little details and things on the ground, and maybe that is why the frames have dropped a lot for me with this one. So this is Feudalist. Again, they have lower versions. They have a 32X that I have as well. That is also good and does work a little bit better. As a point of comparison, the default textures for the game are 16, I believe. So a 32, anything higher than 16, Minecraft considers HD. So 32 is still considered HD, and it's still good. But the higher that number is, the more detail and the more memory and resources your computer's going to need. So that's Feudalist. Let's take a look at another one that I liked here. Faithful. This is a good one. And here you just add the pack by hovering over the pack and then clicking the arrow, and then it moves it over to the selected resource packs area. So, and you can see right now we are using the Faithful resource pack. And as I understand it, the person who made this pack, they wanted to stay faithful to the original game, but just add some higher res textures to the blocks and everything. So you can see in this instance, this pack changes the menu as well. And if we go back to the game, you can see this kind of leans back into the traditional Minecraft textures, but they are a little bit higher resolution. And you can see the blocks just look a little bit more. They have just a little bit more detail. That the world is it's kind of a little bit more cartoony. Doesn't lean into the realistic side of things. Tries to stay true to the original Minecraft skin, but it just adds some higher res textures. So if you like the original skin, but you just want to add some more resolution, I think you might like this one. This is the let's see, Faithful texture pack. Let's see, another one that's good is Chroma Hills. This one is another feudal type texture pack, but it leans more away from the realistic side of things into more of the cartoony type skin, I guess is the word. So you can see it looks a little feudal here. I like the way that the stone blocks are generated here, and actually the skin for the iron golems are actually really cool. It kind of looks like that Iron Giant guy. I think that is really cool. And you can see the creeper textures and the pigs textures. So this one is a 128, and you can see that the detail is pretty high, and I found that it performs really well too. So if you're looking for a feudal type texture pack that kind of stays more true to the Minecraft theme of being colorful and cartoony and animated, you might like Chroma Hills. I found it works really well with the shader pack as well. Also, best looking zombies, I think, by far. So that is Chroma Hills. Let's see, Conquest is another resource pack that is a feudal pack. I also like this one. It also comes with a mod version of the game, which I'm not really covering here. This is just the resource pack, but there is a Conquest mod you can install that adds a lot more things to the game. It's a pretty popular mod and resource pack. I haven't liked it as much. I believe it was based off of the John Smith texture pack, which is what I'm going to go over in a minute here. But you can see this one is feudal, leans more towards the realistic side of things, I guess. This is a little bit of a higher res texture pack, but again, it just seems a little messy. The ground, I just get a real cluttered vibe from it. But you might like this one. I think it's okay if you're looking for a feudal texture pack. Let's see. So I think we've covered all of these so far except the John Smith one, which is the one that I am currently using that I really like. This is a 32X texture pack. You can see it changes the menus and everything. And I just like the way that this one looks. I like the stone. I like the wood. It's a good medieval themed pack. And it seems to perform well with some shaders. So this is the Feudalist. No, not Feudalist. Sorry. This is the John Smith texture pack. Highly recommended. And that's probably gonna about do it for this quick tutorial / mini review of shaders and texture packs. I'm gonna go back over here and turn my shader back on now to see how this looks with this pack. Let's go back to high here. And again, if you go into the shader section and then down here under shader options for the one you have selected, all of these are custom options added by the person who made the mod. And if you hover over them, it just kind of tells you what this control does. And if you go in here and you want to change something, it gives you tips on how these things impact the performance. So when you do install one of these, you might find that it doesn't quite work well out of the box and you have to come in here and tinker with all of these options, but some people might think that that is part of the fun. So here is the John Smith pack, and here we have the shader pack enabled, and you can see it's raining, and it actually adds some rain to the screen. You can see over on the left, it's like washing down the lens a bit, and you can see the water on the ground. Very cool. So that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, found it useful and helpful, and looking forward to seeing many of you on my survival Let's Play in the coming days. Take care, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.